Good morning, everybody. Welcome to Baby Broker to Boss Broker from Zero to Zeros. Your host, Cale Pearson. And of course, everybody knows the star of the show, Joey McDougall. How we doing, Joey?
Good. How you guys doing?
I am doing well. So, we are here. This is episode 3, but you've actually been with us for 4 weeks. We took off last week because I was at the Broker Carrier Summit. And so we got a couple weeks to cover. So I think we'll have a little bit more stuff to cover, and excited to get into this. Before I get too far into it, I do want to kind of just a brief recap of Broker Carrier Summit down in Fort Worth. I talked about it for several weeks. Chad Atkinson and I went to it. Great event. I really enjoyed it. I like the fact that there wasn't just sales pitch after sales pitch after sales pitch of all these products. And there's people there to sell, but it's not like you go to a 45-minute thing on how to optimize your company network or whatever, something like that, and then they just try to sell you software for 45 minutes. So I really appreciate that Broker Carrier Summit sees the value in just getting people together, brokers and carriers, and trying to find out how can we do better business together. And learn the other side of the equation as well, because I think that's super important, is understanding, if you're a broker, what's it mean to be a carrier? And if you're a carrier, what's it mean to be a broker? I'm going to plug my trucker dude hat. I'm actually wearing trucker dude instead of broker dude right now. So if you want to get trucker dude, trucker babe, broker dude, broker babe, it's all at freightbrokerdude.com. As I always do, just 5 people can get enter baby 50 at checkout for $50 off or more of an order of $100 or more. So we did hand out a lot of swag down there. We have sold enough to sponsor 2 carriers for the event in Indianapolis coming up at the end of April, beginning of May. And we're really hoping to send as many carriers as possible, because as brokers, we can go there and our freight's still moving. But if you're a small carrier and you're a driver, your truck is, a lot of times parked close by. So it's important to, support the carriers that are hauling our freight, whether it's our freight or somebody else's in the industry. All right. So enough of all that stuff on sales pitches and whatnot. But, one last thing on the Broker Carrier Summit was a lot of feedback on this process that we're doing, Joey, with you guys, the baby brokers. People are eating this up because we've all been new at some point in our career, at a job, and it's hard, especially when you're learning a new language. It's one thing when you go from one, company to another in the same industry, but whole new industry, everything's brand new. And, so people are loving it, Joey. Just wanted to share that with you and Alan as well. And, so they're rooting for you guys, as we all are. All right. So it's been 4 whole weeks. So you have a full book of business now. You have your sales pitch down, right?
Still working on it. Still
working on it.
Yeah.
All right. So 4 weeks in, what would you say is, like the biggest aha moment or biggest surprise that you've had during this time?
On week 1, I said all the apps, all the screens we use. I'm going to say that again.
Yeah.
Now we're doing a little bit more deep dive in things with dispatching carriers and like customer service in the truck stop. It's flipping screens, going back to here, get this one number to flip back. And of course, you got 2 screens, but it's filled up everywhere. So still, where did I put this? So it's on this side, okay. And still trying to get it down to where it makes everything even flow. So I'm not too scattered brain.
Yeah. There's quite a bit. And it's, as you get more customers, there's going to be more portals that you have to work with, and appointment portals and TMSs. I mean, all kinds of different stuff. And it's just part of it. And it'll become familiar over time. But yeah, it's a lot in the beginning. I did forget to mention, if you haven't subscribed to our YouTube channel, probably a lot of you are watching that. Make sure you do that. Stay up on our content. We're we passed the 1,000 subscriber mark a couple weeks ago, which is a huge milestone in YouTube because you have to have that to reach certain levels. Our next thing is getting enough watch hours so that we can actually link our store to our channel. So keep watching. Appreciate you guys, and drop in the comments where you're logging in from today. That way, and if you have questions for Joey as well, what those might be. So one of the things I love to do is put people on the spot. And I did that with Joey this morning. I'm like, okay, what's our agenda going to be today? And he sent me a little agenda. So we're going to work on that and see what we may need to add to that or may not. Maybe it's enough. I think the biggest thing is you have a customer, right?
Yep.
You have actually hauled freight, delivered it successfully, and now you're just waiting for the next round, right? So kind of walk me through that and our listeners from the beginning. How did you find that customer? And let's just start there.
So this customer kind of fell in my lap. Came from a connection off of LinkedIn. It was my former supervisor. It was my coworker, and then it ventured off to more coworkers. So I kind of got a foot in the door in that place.
Yep.
So they reached out on LinkedIn, said, "Hey, this is what I got," and then we started to work on the quote. It was literally like day number 5, day number 4 for me. So I was like, Steve, help me. So Steve helped me out, and then we emailed back and forth. And then eventually Kel and I went to a tour of the place. Very nice.
Mm-hmm.
They just started asking a little more questions here and there, asking about like LTL, and we don't really have a foot in the door for that. And then we went more like big truck units, and then that's when we kind of got the business.
So let's back up to the LTL because they sent us, I think, I forget how many lanes, half a dozen lanes or so, and we quoted them, and we're actually pretty competitive on about half of them. Which I don't profess this to be an LTL carrier. That's not our specialty. But my point to Joey was, let's get them quotes and let's just see where we are, because you never know, and it's a great experience for us. So we did that. We were close. Their words were, "Hey, you guys are competitive. We're impressed." And I think I want to say the next day, is that when we got the request for the truckload pricing?
Yes.
Yeah. So it just shows you, with the customer, especially a new customer, I think number one, we were honest and we were transparent to say, "Hey, we're going to quote this, but we don't think, from our experience, we're necessarily going to be, the company for this. But we want to quote it just in case and go through that process." So it was really good to do that for the customer. They asked us to do it. We did it. And then more importantly for Joey to learn, you learned a lot through that process as well. Wouldn't you agree?
Yeah.
Yeah. And then, so we got those 2 truckload pricings. Or truckload opportunities. I want to say that was a Thursday. I was the hype man in the office. I was pushing on you. Everybody else is trying to keep you calm, and I'm trying to get you jacked up. Positive pressure, because I knew that everybody else was in. I think 4 or 5 of us kind of said, "Here's what we would quote," and I think that's kind of right where we were quoted. We came in very competitive. We want to make sure we got the business, and we did. So how many truckloads did you get out of that, Joey?
2.
That's pretty awesome. So walk us through when you got the orders, when they needed to ship, and when they ended up delivering as well.
So they needed to be basically picked up in Tennessee the next day, X amount of hours. So I started just to call carriers. I think I called around 25. No one was interested. Then I reached out to the people on the floor, and they helped me. Andrew G helped me try to figure out how I can put it online. So they will call me or they email me, and that was a much better experience. By the time that Andrew was on my desk, on my left-hand side, he walked over around my desk. I started getting email after email after email for carriers. Mm-hmm. So that was like oh shit experience. So I was trying to vent them out, and I'm trying to give them the details of the load, of what happened, what needs to happen. And yeah, that was a good experience.
So we quoted them Thursday. We got them booked. The customer gave them Thursday. When did you book the trucks? Actually, was it that same day?
I think that day, yes.
Okay. And you booked both that same day to pick up the next day, which was a Friday, correct?
Yes.
Okay. Awesome. As far as pick up, anything unique with that that you needed to walk through, or maybe tell some other people, what did you learn that really stuck with you through that process?
So in Tennessee, the facility closes at 2:00, and it's a different time rather than other factories. Mm-hmm. So trying to push the truck driver to be there before 2:00, and
push legally. So I'll just add that. Then maybe a better term is ensure that they had the hours to arrive there safely and on time. Correct?
Well, yeah. Well, the first truck was there early. Second truck got there at 1:30. But I kept calling, like, hey, this is my first truck. I cannot fold this. And of course I didn't say that to them, but
right.
I need you to be there before 2:00, please.
Yeah. And so they obviously made it.
Yep. They made it.
And then any issues or anything happened while loading or anything like that?
Nothing while they were loading. It was two trucks going to the same place. The BOLs got switched so I didn't catch that until much later on, probably an hour later.
Mm-hmm.
I saw that from the first truck. And then
and was that the customer that gave him the wrong BOL?
Yes.
Or it wasn't our customer, but it was the shipping location.
Yeah, the shipping location did. I just took the one right off the top.
Right. Yeah, it makes sense. So.
I tried to get them to use trucker tools. One truck driver was not interested in it, so that was kind of hard trying to figure out where they're at. The second truck was down for it, so I was able to track it.
So what could you learn? What would you do differently to get them to use trucker tools, going forward from the start?
I'm not 100% sure if I checked the box saying that it's required.
Mm-hmm.
I'm doubting myself on that one, but definitely make sure that's checked off.
Well, and I think having the conversation too, when you're dispatching the truck, like, hey, we require, breadcrumb trail tracking. We do that through trucker tools. Hopefully over time you'll get carriers that we can just do it right to their ELD, and then it's easier rather than only the cell phone number. But I think, our best practice with that is as a company is if we want them to do that, we don't even put the pickup number on the Raycon. We require that they log into trucker tools and it's in there. So keep that in mind as you go forward. And for anybody out there, I think that's a great, and I think actually trucker tools shared that with us when we first started to ensure accuracy, timeliness, that they're going to log into it, because once they pick it up, you're kind of at the mercy, like you saw, right? You lost that ability to negotiate the importance of that. So Andrew, I put up on the screen, but he did a little fist bump there. So thanks, Andrew. I know you've been a huge help for Joey on that process, and Alan as well. Sarah says, great job, Joey. That is impressive. Another team member. So, all right. So loads are picked up. They're in transit. It's Friday. When were they how long was the trip, and when were they supposed to be delivered?
It was no rush. I think we put it down for Tuesday, Wednesday. They both got delivered on Monday.
Yeah. But that's awesome. And everything went smooth there?
Yeah, everything went smooth. I was very worried over the weekend just because my first truck. Yeah. I want to make sure it was legit and good. And
yep. I know.
Can't fumble this.
All right. So I have a question for those that are listening in. He's hauled 2 loads successfully delivered prior, actually early. So the listeners, drop us a comment of how often would you reach out to this customer for additional freight. So we'll wait for those to drop in. So yeah, drop in the comments. You're Joey, or you're just you and you have experience. How often would you stay in touch with this customer to get more freight, knowing that you did a great job? So while we're waiting on that, one of the things that you mentioned prior is that the customer asked for the invoice, correct?
Yes.
So kind of lay out for our listeners what that looked like and what your concerns about that were.
So the first truck, I got there early in the morning on Monday, and they sent over the BOL right away. It was signed. Everything looked good. There was our B2B logo on it, so it's the documentation that we had. So it's like pickup delivery is on the sheet. So it's like cool. Second truck, I'm still trying to make sure it's legit, everything's good. But I keep asking them for the BOL. They never told me it was delivered. So I was trying to contact the truck driver, and then I was trying to contact the carrier, and then phone wasn't really working, so I kept emailing them back and forth between the phone calls. And then they sent over BOL probably like 2-3 days later, but the signatures weren't like on there. So I knew it was delivered because it was the place, the business signed off saying that they got it, sent me an email. But I thought I needed a BOL saying that they actually got it so we can keep going through the cycle.
Yeah. So let me chime in here. So what I was sharing with Joey ahead of time on this, as we were walking through this, was the customer asked for the invoice. So they just asked for the invoice. So your thought is I need to give the BOL and send it all together because that's what our normal practice. But in this instance, we know it delivered to our customer who's paying the bill. They've received it. They're asking for the invoice. They have all the other supporting documentation. So my question would be, hey, here's the invoice, or do you need anything in addition to the invoice, or since you already have it, you just need the invoice, and getting it over to them ASAP. And I know our team, internally was like, well, we need certain paperwork. Well, we can bill the customer without the driver paperwork. So my best practice is if a customer asks for an invoice, you send them an invoice. You figure it out, and you don't wait, because that's another opportunity to provide great timely service and do exactly what they ask for. So let's make sure that we do that going forward. And like I've said, bug me as much as you need to. If it feels wrong or you think there's a better way, I'm here for that. That's a big part of what we're doing here. So one of the let's go through some of these comments. So Steve Plunk said daily, early in the morning. Aaron says daily. Chris was kind of talking about Raycon has a verbiage about B2B requires trucker tools tracking as a condition to haul the load. We went through that. Sarah, reach out daily. There's a theme here. Janet, every morning. Awesome, you're moving freight already. Andrew says, agreed to daily check-in, builds the know. This first follow-up, you're coming in off success. Leverage that in your call, build that trust. Both build the like, build up that know, trust, and like. So, and I would say Andrew is very quiet and reserved, but he is very diligent and very persistent. And I think that the way that he wrote that explains exactly how he is able to get customers and have relationships for many, many years, because they know you and they like you and they trust you. So I think we have a theme here that you need to be checking in daily. Don't be afraid, because the way I look at it is they're in the business of shipping and receiving things to sell their product. So we are, as part of that supply chain, we are critical infrastructure for them to sell their product. So in my mind, I need to help them sell product. How do I do that? Either by shipping it out or bringing in raw material so that they can in turn sell their product. So that's how I look at it, is I'm helping them make sales by reaching out, by picking those loads up, delivering them on time. I'm just a part of their extended network of getting that material to their customer. Maybe that helps me be more persistent, but I think that's important in this process. So how are we going to move forward with this, Joey? What are we going to do in reaching out to your customer?
Well, as soon as we're done here, I'll go reach out to them.
Yeah, awesome.
I reached out on Thursday, everybody knows I reached out on Thursday.
Yeah. No, and I know, and another thing. Let's say they say, "Hey, Joey, you don't need to check in with us every day." I still check in every other day because there are customers that say, "Hey, Joey, you're our number one. We're not going to give this freight to anybody else." But that'll give you an opportunity to say, "Hey, I really appreciate that. I still like to stay in touch, and I'll check in every couple of days." But in the beginning, if they have freight and you've done a great job, it's every single day. So,
perfect.
All right. What else did you learn, or would you like to share about that process of getting your first customer?
Since I just started, I haven't really ventured too much on dispatch. So it's nice having Andrew helping me through those steps of trying to fill out what I need to fill out and just checking the right boxes. I didn't experience that before. So it was pretty cool that he was there to help me out during that process.
Yeah. And another cool thing, didn't we load this truck on one of our other salespeople's loads? One of those trucks? Yep. So, that's dispatch, 102 level stuff or 201, however you want to word it, where it's like, hey, you're coming into our backyard, which, literally it's 10 miles from our office. We have a customer that's right around the corner. Do you have an outbound load? So it's great. We were able to capture that truck for 2 loads. So that's a great way in this industry because the driver, the carrier, they're vetted. They just did a great job for you. So what better carrier could you get for your next load? So that's pretty cool. All right, I'm going to put you on the spot. Joey, you just called me. Hey, this is Cale with XYZ Manufacturing.
My name is Joey. I'm a freight broker to B2B transportation. We're a company that specializes in helping businesses ship their products all over the country. I was wondering if you had a few minutes to chat so I could learn more about your company products and see if we could help them.
Yeah, I got a couple minutes.
Perfect. Do you want to share some of your company's products?
Well, I assume you looked us up. You might know a little bit about us. What do you know about us?
That you're a moving company, I guess. But yeah, I have it in there that I do research the company before calling, but off the script itself, it's a missing void.
Yeah, that's fine. No, I think that's progress. Obviously I see your eyeballs. I know you're reading it. It sounds like you're reading it. I think is that you have to get it so memorized about who you are. It's like somebody asking you your name, where you were born, and how old you are. That's how I look at it. Is it just be, hey, I'm Cale Pearson. I was born in Bakersfield, California. I'm 46 years old, and now I live in Redmond, Oregon. And it should just be that fluid. And, because if somebody calls me or I'll go back to my elk days. Somebody called me, it's like, or actually I'll go back to asset-based days. Like I'm calling a customer, and if they do that, it's like, yeah, I looked you up. I know you haul roofing product. You have facilities in Southern Cal, Portland area. Looks like South Texas around Dallas, but also Houston, couple in Georgia. And those are all locations that we frequent daily. And, we haul for these other customers doing the same thing. And, we've won these awards, those sorts of things. And it's just like, oh, wow, these guys really know my business. And, it just has to be so natural and off the top that they can't be like, this guy's a rookie type thing, right? You'll get there. So that's good progress. And it's always hard on these things to practice it. But a good job on that. I think I skipped this comment, but Susan shared earlier, it's shocking how connections in life become connections for logistics work. You never know who you will come back in contact with in our industry. I could not agree more. It's so true. It's like, I know this industry is big, but it's also small in the same time. because you only have so many shippers and only so many carriers and only so many brokers. So it's important, your name is important in this industry. So I want to put you on the spot. When do you think that you will be out in the wild, working on your own? And if you haven't thought about this, what's the goal to, like, okay, we're not doing this practice stuff anymore. I'm just chasing freight. So when's that going to be? You want to be thrown in the deep end. Here we go, Joey. When are we going to throw you in the deep end, take those water wings off?
So I need to work on my script a little bit more. I have made connections outside of the office with Aaron, who's in the chat right now. We're going to start practicing cold calling each other, and then to develop more comfortable.
Mm-hmm.
I got a taste of moving trucks, so I'm kind of hungry to keep going.
Yep.
It's just a matter of when can I do it? When do I feel like I'm ready? When do you guys feel like I'm ready? Type deal.
You tell us. I mean, I'm asking you. Put yourself in that spot right now. Draw a line in the sand and say, "Hey, at XYZ date, I want to take these water wings off, and I'm jumping off even the high dive type thing."
Say next week.
Oh wow. Okay.
Next week.
Next week. Okay. You guys heard it here first. Joey's going to be live and released to the wild and calling on customers and booking freight. And, I think there's still going to be training involved. Obviously, we're not just going to be like, goodbye, see you later.
Good luck.
But I think now you have enough, like you've moved some freight. We've done 4 weeks. You've done so much training with Grant Cardone. I think you got to the end of no, you didn't get to the end of it, but you went through the trainings that we assigned. You got through the end of those. And I think for you, it's, and this is important for anybody in sales, is who are you and what makes you unique and how are you going to connect with people? For me, that's going to be different than it is for you, Joey. And I think you just have to own what that is. And I think being comfortable with that is great. It doesn't mean you can't learn from others, but you have to have your own style. You can't sound like, you can't use my words if they don't feel right to you. You can't use somebody else's script if it doesn't feel right to you. You make it your own so that when people hear it, they can tell that's Joey speaking and not somebody else, or just a script that B2B Transportation gave you to go close some loads type of thing. So, what are some other things that you've used because it's been 2 weeks since we've had a call. Are there any other things that you really dove into and that you're learning or that have been handy for you?
While doing the Grant Cardone videos, I also play around on Sales Dash. I saw that there was some bunch of carriers as leads, so I move everything over, which was almost an all-day project. But just playing around the Sales Dash. TruckMate, of course, learning more about that each day. Steve's having us do something else, another problem. 2 trucks going, changing the assigned carrier to a new carrier. So yeah, just a lot of cool stuff.
All right, so I want to put you on the spot here. I want you to record yourself 3 times in a sales pitch. You're gonna send one to Sean Matthews. Okay. That's somebody you know. Who are 2 other that you can send to that don't work for our company?
I can find somebody.
Okay. So
everyone's gonna get it. How about that?
That's fine, because I think that's because once you film yourself, you're filming yourself, you'll see and you'll pick up on stuff and it'll force you to sharpen your axe, because that's really what this process is about for me, is giving you guys the tools, because I want to see you guys be so successful that this thing exceeds what we thought it could be, because that's what it's about. It's about giving back to people that work for us, growing our company, and giving you guys a career that it's not just today, but it's a career. And I think the more positive pressure, I talk about that all the time, that we can put on you, the better you're going to be. because we're gonna put you in a safe environment where it's okay to fail, and it's not detrimental to your psyche. Because I've seen that sink or swim mentality where it's like, you have those days where it's like, man, this is exhausting, and it just goes back to my roots of coaching and teaching, leadership development, all that stuff. And obviously, I was thrown in the deep end, and I was like, this sucks, All right, so we're actually a little bit over our time. That's fine, but what's another? What's something that if you're brand new and you're 6 weeks ago Joey, what would you tell yourself now, being 6 weeks later, 4 weeks into this training process? Don't you love how I just put you on the spot constantly?
Yeah, a little bit. Probably getting put on the spot, maybe even just the live YouTube.
Yeah. You're getting more comfortable. It's fine.
Yes.
This is a safe space, man. Just whatever first thing that pops in your mind, gun to your head. What are you going to say?
I don't know. Get used to sitting at a desk.
I know, right?
It's a little different from what I was doing beforehand.
Yeah.
That's kind of it, I think.
Yeah. Okay.
I don't want to say like stick with it or anything like that, because it's been a great experience. Not difficult at all, but yeah, I think that's probably just it.
So let's expand on that. So you said not difficult at all. You're learning something brand new, which in itself is difficult. So why has this process not been difficult?
I think just probably public speaking is going to be a little difficult, but I'm on the phone, so I actually don't have to see the person face to face, so which is much easier than like I could eat a bag of chips and stuff like that.
I don't recommend that.
Yeah, but it's a little different in person, where I used to have to do a lot of public speaking or like training and stuff like that. Where if it's on the phone, it's a little more easier. And then just how we are, I don't want to say slowly learning stuff, but we are developing how to use our software, how to use different tools we have. It's much easier than like, here you go, learn everything right now. We're taking it step by step, which is very nice.
Yeah. And I didn't coach Joey to say that, by the way.
Oh. Positive question, right?
What's that?
Oh, nothing.
Yeah. All right. So coming to it, we've got Joey today. We've got Alan on Wednesday. And, just a reminder, go to freightbrokerdude.com and get your swag. That 10% of those profits, proceeds, whatever you want to call them, are going to sponsor carriers at Broker Carrier Summit. If you want $50 off of a big order, there you go. And just appreciate, spread the word, share this process because, let's see. Oh, we got somebody here. Shauna Michelle said the cold calls aren't as scary as you thought. That's good. No, I agree. It's getting used to it and just learning. So appreciate that, Shauna. And till next time, Joey, any last parting words?
No. Thank you for commenting.
All right. I'll see you guys on Wednesday, and Joey, we'll see you probably in about a week. Have a great day.